Okay, hi Lalit. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you, Anne. It's a pleasure to be talking to you about our participation in the Business Process Intelligence Challenge.
Exactly. So, Lalit, you're a partner of CKM Advisors, which is a New York based boutique consulting firm, and your team is the winner of this year's BPI Challenge. So, for those of you who don't know what the BPI Challenge is, the BPI Challenge, that's a yearly process mining challenge where, based on a real data set, participants can hand in their analysis results, and then the submissions are judged by a jury. Now, Lalit, can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you heard the first time about process mining, and why you decided to participate in the BPI Challenge?
Sure. No, that's a great question. I have been a analytics practitioner for more than 10 years. Before joining CKM, I helped build and grow an analytics company that did mostly predictive analytics work in the areas of marketing, operations, risk, largely for financial services, including banks and insurance companies. While doing that work, we also were solving problems in operations performance improvement area. And that necessarily takes you to improving process performance. And while looking at that, I came to realize that this was an area that was not as well addressed in the main industrial domain as it should have been. And it was in that context that, in fact, I joined CKM Advisors to build a consulting firm that will focus on solving operational challenges using big data, if you will, right? And the way we look at operational performance, it's consists of three or four areas. One, you have to first understand the kind of work you will receive and the amount of work you will receive in your operations, uh, which is generally the forecasting side. And there is a lot of work that has happened on the forecasting side. Once you know what work you're going to get, you have to intelligently allocate your resources to meet that work, to deliver on that work. And you have to have processes that effectively satisfy the needs of work items that come into your operations. And when we looked at these three or four different components, we realized that getting to a process design or understanding the process in detail was something that was not addressed very well. And then we began researching, and that's when we stumbled upon process mining. And that's when we came across all the work that is being done by the process mining task force, which a lot of your colleagues, yourself, have been involved in and part of. And we got interested and excited about it. We tried a couple of different tools, two or three different tools, including Prom, Disco, and a couple of others. And while researching on it, we came across the Business Process Intelligence Challenge. And we said, if we have learned something, let's try and put it to test and see how well we end up doing. And it proved to be an extremely powerful method and tool. So I'll pause there.
Excellent. And you participated as a team, so there were three people who submitted the challenge contribution that you had. How did you go about it? Did you work on it as a team, or was one person taking the lead and the other ones gave feedback? Can you talk a little bit about how you did it?
Sure. So the team consisted of myself and Arjel, who's part of my team, and Syed, who's also part of the team. Arjel and Syed are consultant joined us over the last 1.5 years. But they, in many ways, are the people who got into the depths of the problem, who started working with Disco in a lot of detail and other process mining tools in a lot of detail. So we worked on it as a team. We all ended up doing a lot of the analysis that we presented in the paper. We also acted as each other's quality checks, if you will. It was a process where we all learned together what process mining means. And given our consulting background, we brought a heavy applied bent to it, in the sense of our focus throughout the analysis was um, coming up with insights that the bank could potentially use as they looked at the process and try and improve the performance either of resources or outcomes. So it was a team effort where we challenged each other in getting to these answers.
Right, yeah, you just mentioned it. It was a bank, so the process that was analyzed was a loan approval process. And actually, that was, I have here a quote from the jury. So that was one of the things that was highlighted about your contribution, what you just mentioned, that it was a very results-driven method of analyzing, hypothesis-driven method of analyzing. And one of the, highlights was that you really managed to convert analysis results into business level results and recommendations. And like you hinted a little bit, you have quite some experience. You've been head of analytics in 2 different companies before starting as a partner at your current firm. So given this background in analytics, can you try to explain again a little bit more, like where do you see process mining? How does it compare to other analytics techniques, and where are the strengths, and what kind of gap does it fill?
Sure, and I think that's also a good thing to talk about. In my past career, I have worked with several process improvement experts, and mostly we saw use of techniques such as Six Sigma, Lean, or traditional process reengineering methods being deployed for both understanding and improving processes. And when we compare that to process mining, the big difference we see is process mining takes you to a whole new level of granularity in understanding how the process works, and also understanding performance of resources who are assigned to that process. And I think it truly helps you get to opportunities that are not found by using traditional means of process improvement. We have actually done some work for a UK-based commercial bank in their small and medium enterprise loan origination process, and we deployed some of these techniques there. And what we found was that we could get to 2 to 3 times the level of improvement that you could find using traditional means. And that speaks to the power of this technique, is that you really are able to drive understanding of the process to a level of detail that you cannot in traditional means. And then there is a very clear and straightforward reason for that. Most of the traditional methods will rely on established process documents, interviews with people, or following through a small number of work items by way of time and motion studies, or just following through them through end-to-end process that gets executed. What that ends up leaving on the side is the exception handling that goes on, and all the hidden factories, if you will, that exist in an organization, right? And what we find is through traditional means, you get a great understanding of the quote-unquote average process. So maybe 60–70% of work items go through the average process, but the challenge is the exceptions, or the things that do not follow that average path, inevitably get you the most improvement opportunities. That's where there are large number of exceptions. That's where a lot of the work effort goes in. That's where you see quality challenges. That's where you see turnaround time challenges. Process mining, when you look at event level data for a large number of work items, it gets you to a level of detail that you can start covering these exceptions in a very meaningful manner, and you can show it very tangibly to a business manager or a process owner. So that's the benefit of using process mining.
Okay, excellent, very interesting. Thanks a lot. So the last thing I want to ask is about, you told me that you're about to start a process mining interest group in the US. What exactly do you have in mind, and what would you like to achieve with it?
The idea for the process mining group actually came from the process mining boot camp we saw Fluxicon organize in Europe, and what that basically when we saw the videos and the participation there, we came to realize that the awareness about process mining as a discipline is not as high in US or perhaps even in North America. We do not see industry practitioners having adopted it. And we saw actually several examples of that in the presentations that were done both at the Process Mining Bootcamp as well as the BPM conference. And then we believe there is a lot of opportunity to do that in US. So the idea behind the interest group is bring together the initial set of resources who are working on it today, and build greater awareness about it. Together, figure out ways of getting more and more business users to test it out. And if you are able to get some people to test it out, I'm fairly sure they'll start adopting it, as the benefits will be very, very clear and transparent. So the idea is to bring together researchers in this space who are pushing the methodology forward and are helping establish the ways of doing this better and better, and business practitioners who would be also, our self-interest is they are potentially our clients, and we want them to be aware of this new way of looking at how processes are being executed in the organization and so on and so forth. So the idea is to bring that group together and drive greater awareness, greater adoption, and just drive more trials, if you will, by the business community that we are part of. So the hope is we find good traction through that activity.
So how can someone who would be interested in participating, based in the US perhaps, how would they get in touch with you?
I can be found on LinkedIn, and if anybody sends me a message about it, I will be sure to get that going and then start an interaction with not just me but other practitioners here in this area. And they can directly reach out to us at CKM Advisors, and my email address appears on the BPIC paper. It is, and we can put that at the end of the interview as a link, so people can connect me through that as well.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for your time, Lalit. Again, congratulations for winning the award, and it was a pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for making the Discord tool available with all the data for this challenge for participants as on a free basis. So we highly appreciate that, and we're looking forward to using it, using the 30-day trial on a real business problem sometime soon.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Bye bye.